The Bengals have two key starters dealing with injuries heading into a must-win game against the Steelers, and in this video, I'll explain why the entire season may hinge on one of them playing. Hi again, Bengals fans. John Sheeran of A to Z Sports Cincinnati here, and it's looking like the Bengals are going to have to make two game-time decisions before Saturday's game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Running back Chase Brown is still dealing with a high ankle sprain that he suffered last week against the Denver Broncos. He missed the very end of that game, and he missed all three practices Cincinnati had this week. And rookie right tackle Amarius Mims, he's still dealing with a broken hand that he suffered earlier this month. He tried playing through it against the Broncos. He ended up playing 30 snaps before having to leave the game, and he missed the last practice of the week this week. Considering the nature of these injuries, I'm not confident in saying that either Brown or Mims are going to be able to play against the Steelers. A high ankle sprain is not something that you typically want to rush back to. Obviously, they gave him as much time off as they possibly could this week just so he has a chance of playing Saturday, but Brown is just so explosive. He's so sudden and quick. His change of direction ability is second to none within this running back group. I have a hard time believing he's going to be able to play at 100% just a week after suffering that ankle sprain, so that has to be taken into consideration. As for Mims' broken hand, he was able to try and play through it against the Broncos, and who knows what ended up happening after that, and they wanted to give him some rest as well. They don't want to put too much pressure on that hand. They were able to wrap it up in the club last time, and he was able to kind of play through it. But again, we don't know the extent of the damage that's been done. We don't know if there's potential for it to get worse, and that has to be taken into consideration as well. But I will say this, as good as Chase Brown has been this year, and he's undeniably been an asset for this offense. Just in these past 7 games, he's averaging well over 100 yards from scrimmage per game. He's got 6 touchdowns in that span as well. He has really carried the Bengals run game on his back. But I think the injury that matters more here is Amarius Mims, and I'm not really sure it's particularly close. The vast majority of time, if you were to ever have a rookie right tackle go up against TJ Watt for an entire game, you would give the edge to Watt 10 times out of 10. Now, Watt may not win as a pass rusher on a per snap basis quite like he used to, but he makes so many game-changing plays every single week, and you need the best possible pass protector to go up against him at right tackle. And Mims did as good of a job as you could have possibly expected him to in his first time ever playing against Watt. He only gave up 1 hurry in that game. Yes, Watt did have a strip sack on Burrow, but it was on a broken play where Burrow kind of escaped the pocket. Mims did his job on that play. It was just up to Burrow to not lose the ball. When Burrow stayed in the pocket and Mims was just one-on-one on an island against one of the premier edge rushers in the game, he was phenomenal. He was so much better than I think a lot of people expected him to be in his first game against Watt. And while all of this was happening, on the left side of the offensive line, you had Orlando Brown Jr. playing through his fibula injury, playing through a ton of pain. He did not finish the game well. He ended up missing the next 3 games after he gave up a strip sack to Alex Highsmith that ended up changing the game entirely. So we've already seen how the best part of this Steelers roster can take advantage of an injured Bengals offensive tackle. Now they may have to do it again, because the alternative here is having Devin Cochran, the Bengals backup swing tackle, take on TJ Watt for 4 quarters. I think we all know how that's going to go. All of this kind of makes it a good time right now to really appreciate what Mims has done as a rookie for the Bengals. He wasn't expected to start for most of the season. I think when Trent Brown, remember him, when he signed back in March, the expectation was he was going to start and give Mims a very long runway to get up to speed. But Mims has been taking starter reps since the spring. He was expected to be the week 1 starter in the middle of training camp before he had a pec injury, and then he was thrusted back into the starting lineup in the middle of week 3. And ever since then, it's been slow and steady, but he's become so much more consistent as a pass protector against some of the very best edge rushers in the game. He's been a lot better than I think a lot of people expected him to be for a guy who didn't even play 900 snaps in college. And if the Bengals don't want to start their offseason on Sunday, they need him to play in the worst way on Saturday night. I think it's the only way that the Bengals offense is going to be able to put up enough points to beat a Steelers offense that is surely due for a bounce back against this Bengals defense. If he can go, and if his hand is all right, the Bengals drafted Mims for games exactly like this. It's time for him to do it again if he's able.